Welcome, everyone. So we can go ahead and get started, and as people come in, I can go ahead and let them in to the meeting. All right. My name is Wendy Camisar, instructor and research specialist at the Howard County Library System Central Branch. And we're so happy to have you with us today for MLMs and pyramid schemes, what you need to know before signing on. Our guest presenter for this class is Angie Barnett, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Greater Maryland. Angie's background includes over 15 years experience serving in executive roles for nonprofit organizations. Prior to joining the Better Business Bureau in 2006, she served 5 years as Vice President of Membership at the Maryland Chamber of Commerce. There, she provided leadership in membership development and retention, as well as member services, working closely with many of Maryland's corporate and business leaders. So with that, I will turn it over to Angie, but just letting you know, we are recording this session. If you want to stay off camera, that's perfectly fine, although we'd love to see your faces. So feel free to join with your camera on. Also, there should be a chat box below that I'll monitor. But I think this is going to be kind of an interactive meeting, so feel free to chime in with any questions that you may have. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Wendy. And just to give background and support, I am a very informal person, so jump in with any questions. And I'm never shy about saying, I may not know the answer, but I'll get it to you. So please feel free to interact in whatever way possible. At the conclusion, my contact information will be provided if you would like to, if BBB, Better Business Bureau, can ever serve you or provide any answers or address any questions you might have. So as Wendy mentioned, we are going to talk today a little bit about multi-level marketing and how it varies from what can cause damage, what does cause damage to investors, and that is pyramid schemes. So we will talk about that. Now, before we get right into that discussion, I want to ever so briefly mention what is Better Business Bureau, because we are a free service that is directed solely for consumers. And our goal is to provide for consumers information to help them make best decisions about who to hire for home services, whom to take your car to, but all the different services that you provide, we provide free profile information on those businesses. When you look at a profile, very simply, it gives you the basic information, background information, and you're able to read any customer reviews that we've received or any customer complaints. So when I do ask people what you know about Better Business Bureau, people always are quick to say they do remember back in the day when people used to file complaints with BBB. And that's absolutely one of the things that we do. We receive about 12,000 complaints per year on Maryland businesses. We have about 50,000 business profiles that enable you to learn more about businesses that you are considering doing business with. But also we have a tool called Scam Tracker. Simply go to your web browser, put in the word BBB Scam Tracker, and the Scam Tracker is where people who are being scammed, have been solicited, exposed to scams, they put information. That is one of the places we get our information about this very topic, pyramid schemes. And that is where we are finding what trends are occurring within this very interesting industry. So today, I hope to provide just a little bit of information to enable you to decipher what, good multi-level marketing opportunities that you may consider. Very popular these days with people who are looking for things to do from home. And also, how does that differ from a pyramid scheme? So I hope I, again, provide you some helpful information to make sure that you are making the best decisions with your hard-earned money. So next slide. What are multi-level marketing and how do they work? Very good question. All right, so multi-level marketing companies are companies who are focused on you selling a product, a viable product, and you sell those products through person-to-person sales. And in these days and times, if I want to be part of a multi-level marketing program, I actually might also try to sell my product through social media. But multi-level marketing is really focused on, I am an independent representative. I sell to retail customers, and I have the opportunity to recruit new distributors, much like myself. And I'm going to use for you an example because I'm going to tell my age now, and you'll figure it out very quickly. But when I was much younger, building my family, my friends and I in our neighborhood, we did a lot of Pampered Chef product sales. Pampered Chef is an example of a multi-level marketing. It is a business that has a corporate headquarters, public filings, and at that business, they manufacture these incredible different types of kitchen tools and hostess services, baskets, all kinds of things. But Pampered Chef is a legitimate business with legitimate products that's through a period of time, and the way they make their money, they don't place their items in a store. Their items are sold by distributors. And my friend would have a Pampered Chef party, and then she would at the end get sales, and therefore she got a commission from that. And in addition, she would recruit and say, do you want to have a party? And she would get a piece of that pie if she recruited somebody else to have a party. So that is this model has been around for decades and decades and decades, but the emphasis is on a legitimate product. And that's the real focus of the question. What's the difference between multi-level marketing and a pyramid scheme? Next one. Thank you. There, as I mentioned, with multi-level marketing, there's an actual product, and I'm going to make money on my own sales and possibly a little piece of the pie of those people that I recruit and their sales and commission. Also, the best multi-level marketing companies are those that are going to pay me my commission on selling that product without a requirement that I have to recruit new distributors. The focus again is on the sales of the product. And I can't say that enough, because when you begin to look at pyramid schemes and scams, that is not the focus. Next one. So the difference, as I mentioned, between a pyramid scheme and multi-level marketing is for a pyramid scheme or pyramid type businesses, the emphasis is really on the recruitment. It's not the product. In fact, some pyramid schemes don't even have a product. Those are the ones, and I'll tell you the ones that are hitting the market right now are cryptocurrency investment. And so there may not be a real product. I put in my $1,000. I go to a website and I can see, whoa, all of a sudden my $1,000 is now worth $15,000, $20,000. I get really excited and I tell all my best friends, I invested in this, and you can invest and make money too, because look, this is what I made. Now, there's lots of problems with some of those schemes and scams, but that is investment scams are usually the most common pyramid scheme that we're familiar with. Now, some pyramid schemes may actually have a product, but again, the emphasis is about recruitment of other distributors. It's not about the product. And when they actually have some type of product, oh my, those are the ones that's really hard to tell. Is this a legitimate MLM, or is this indeed a pyramid scheme? So we'll want to dig down and look a little deeper into some of those red flags. Next one. The red flags of a pyramid scheme. As I mentioned, the emphasis is on recruiting. getting new people into the scheme. And one of the things that you really want to ask is, how many people are you recruiting for this investment? Are you recruiting for this opportunity? Because if there is an unlimited number of people who can sell a product, you got a problem. And the reason why is the market. That you can't flood the market with an unlimited number of anything. The market will, the demand will decrease because everybody has it. So the market, and in addition, product, you can't have more distributors than the product you have. If so, you'll have distributors selling things that don't exist. And you can only blame it on the supply chain for so long. So we want to, ask those questions and look at a pyramid scheme is designed to have an unlimited number of people, recruiting more people to join in the investment opportunity. And one of the big telltale signs is when I have to buy product, and not just one time because it's legitimate. And I'm going to go back to my decades old Pampered Chef parties when, 30 years ago, I would go to them. You've got to have product to use as an example and say, see how great this knife slices a tomato. You want the product for demonstration purpose. So there may be and should expect there to be an investment in purchasing some product at the initial point. But pyramid schemes, if there is a product, one of the things they will do is they will require you to buy the product every quarter, every X amount of period of time, buy and invest in X amount dollar value. And that means you may be building up your own inventory without ever selling anything. And but yet you're in this commitment, this agreement that I will purchase every quarter X amount of dollars of X amount of inventory. And so my whole garage could eventually be filled with items that I never am able to sell. So that is another way in which these schemes work, is when the product is actually not of quality, the product is actually not in demand. So that's why before you jump into a multi-level marketing, you're really going to want to read the fine print and ask a lot of questions. In addition, other red flags that we want to mention about a pyramid scheme, and next slide, please, is when you are approached about being a distributor or a seller, there is emotional high pressure tactics. And those high pressure tactics can be simple overstatements, overpromising of how much money you can make, what little investment it takes to yield this huge returns. And it can really focus a lot on emotion. And when I talk about that, I'm going to jump into another example of what is really occurring. I mentioned cryptocurrency. I don't get emotionally tied up in money that I can't see, feel, or touch, money that's not regulated. That doesn't pull on my heartstrings. But something that might pull on my heartstring, supplements to improve my health, especially during COVID. Supplements that help me lose weight, that pulls on my emotional heartstring. I want to be healthy, and Lord only knows I could use losing a few pounds. So that might have an appeal to me. And there are many pyramid schemes in which health supplements, diet aids are sold. And it is, again, because it has that heartstring, that emotion. There is something about how we feel about ourselves or what we want for ourselves, and we get hooked into that. So again, let's mention red flags for a pyramid scheme, not a legitimate multi-level marketing. Just to remind you, the focus is on recruiting, not the product. The focus is on possibly, if there is product, that you've got to buy a certain amount, that the selling of that product is based on emotion, high pressure tactics. You've got to do it now. This opportunity won't be available to you in the future. Promise of high returns in a short period of time. You invest $1,000, you'll get $20,000 back in 60 days. Whew, wouldn't that be nice? And we know, what does that sound like? It sounds too good to be true. It probably is. Yeah, that's probably true. And it's people will tell you that doing multi-level marketing or a pyramid scheme is easy money, passive income. No, it's not. No matter if it's a pampered chef party or whatever it is, it takes time, effort to sell your product. You have to have a business plan. You have to get it out there. You have to find the customers. You've got to do the presentations. So it is not easy passive income. And in some cases there, it's a pyramid scheme if there's no demonstrated revenue from the retail sales, meaning they're only going to pay you if you recruit, not if you sell the product. So, or if the product is so excessive that you grow your inventory and would never be able to sell your entire inventory because there's not a market for it. You don't know that many people to sell it to. So you have to keep those things in mind. Those are the red flags with a pyramid scheme. Next slide. So, I did a bad job on that slide, and my apologies. It doesn't show up. That I'm so sorry. But the bottom line of this slide was to really show you that, and it's simple math that that shows you if you had at the very top of the pyramid scheme, if you had if I was to recruit 6 people, those 6 people are to recruit 36 people. If you look down within 13 times of doing 6 people who recruit 6 people, those 36 people have to recruit 6 people. If you look down at the bottom within 13 times, realistically, it's more people that are than in the United States. We don't have that many people to actually sell the product. And of course, if everybody's selling the product, who in the world is going to buy the product? That is why a pyramid scheme collapses. It is very simply the way it is built, that the only people who make money are the very few individuals at the top, and their money, the revenue that they are able to get, is off the backs of everybody else. It's like, what's the saying? Robbing from Peter to pay Paul, or robbing from Paul to pay Peter. Sounds better. But anyway, that's the way it works, and it will collapse because it cannot, mathematically, a pyramid scheme cannot sustain itself. So this graphic gives you, again, just a really quick visual for you to understand that at some point, whatever it is you're selling, there's not ever going to be enough customers to buy and enough people that have to be recruited. So, and again, my apologies for the quality of that slide. I did not, so that's a secondary issue. But anyway, good graphic to share. So why in the world, with all of these things that I just shared with you, why do people invest in multi-level marketing or pyramid schemes? One, greed. If I'm the first to get in, I may know it's very bad. It doesn't matter. I'm going to make a few $1,000 or whatever the dollar value is at the very top when I'm first to get in, and then I can quickly get out. I've made my money. Yep, that really does happen. We even know the most infamous, of course, is Bernie Madoff. We know the people at the very top, at the very early beginnings, they did actually really make money. So it wasn't until it collapsed, when there were so many people, there wasn't any money to pay off, and they were recruiting one person and paying it to another to just keep it going. At some point, it collapses. So greed. But let's say very few of us, but in particular, are greedy people. So what else? We're misled. And I will say to you that a lot of these, many of these programs are marketed as an investment club, a gift program. And when it's really painful is when these types of investment clubs or gift programs, they come about through a community association, a neighborhood, a church. And people fall for it because if somebody in my neighborhood that I know and I trust, or somebody at my church that I know and I trust, and they're promoting this, I'm going to actively listen. I'm not going to automatically say no, because it is people I know. Therefore, I think that the product or the service is legit because, again, I have that connection to somebody I know. So that, that is frequently why it doesn't work. And now let's enter the pandemic. What the pandemic has done for us in the last 2 years has increased our reliance so much on the digital world. We get so much of our news through digital streaming. We watch things through digital streaming. Most importantly, we are all on social media like never before. So many of the pyramid schemes, the ones that are out to defraud you, to take your money, they are marketed through social media. And somebody will start a chain that says, I invested $500, I made $15,000. How about you? And we saw this uptick with the pandemic, and it has created a $35.2 billion industry are the pyramid schemes, the multi-level marketing that's not, they really are a pyramid scheme. And so your question to me is going to be, well, if this is true, why isn't the law enforcement, the federal government doing something? And I kind of answered your question by saying what has happened is so much of this is occurring now through social media. And because it's on social media, and if I post a website for my product or my investment, I can take it down just like that. The second I think law enforcement is after me, somebody's caught on, I take that website down and I put up another one. So it makes it challenging when it's on social media to actually track down the perpetrator of these crimes. And yes, they are crimes. Pyramid schemes are absolutely crimes, punishable, just like breaking any other law. It's just very challenging to figure out the source. And they're usually very complicated. So why people invest? Greed, they trust, they think they're doing the right thing. They think the product is legit. And because we have such a predominance of these kinds of offerings being made through social media, and sadly, we still believe so much of what we read and see in social media. So those are some of the reasons why people might invest. Next slide. So here's a few facts I thought you might want to know. According to the FTC, not Better Business Bureau, but according to the FTC, 99% of the people who participate in multi-level marketing, the legitimate kind, lose money because that initial investment in your product and service, the energy, there's 1,000 reasons why. But when there's been a lot of research looking at legitimate multi-level marketing, and you've filed taxes on that. So you look at the tax filings and you will see people literally will make $0 and then, or they might make $100 or $200, but nobody's really getting wealthy on this. But some people will do it because they enjoy the experience. They enjoy setting things up and talking to people, and they really like the product. That's good as long as their expectations are realistic. According to the Direct Selling Association, and yes, a legitimate multi-level marketing product, that corporate headquarters is probably part of the Direct Selling Association. They have tons of information to help educate you. But even the association in 2021 referred 4 cases to the FTC for prosecution as violation of truth in advertising. They made promises by which they could not deliver. Most often, those are the promises of make money quick, make huge dollar amounts, those kinds of things. We also know within multi-level marketing, the recession and celebrities are super great because celebrities will put their name behind something. They'll do a 30-minute or 30-second ad that then goes viral in social media, and all of a sudden people are rushing to get that product or service. And I will bring up one that's very controversial today, and that's beach bodies. And it is a multi-level marketing. There is legitimate product, and they do ask you to recruit other people to sell the beach body product, for body toning, etc., losing weight. So, and then celebrities have gotten behind this. With the recession, we're looking for ways to make extra money. All of those feed into why we might find multi-level marketing more interesting than we did in the past. And lastly, according to Direct Selling Association, 74% of the sellers are women. So I just shared that as an interesting fact. So there's a few things you might want to know. Again, the source being either the Direct Selling Association or the FTC. And here's just, let's run ever so quickly through some questions to ask if you are considering a legitimate multi-level marketing opportunity. Ask yourself, do you want to be a salesperson? Do you have the gift of gab? Can you talk about the product? And do you actually want to do that? Do you have a solid sales plan? You have to do more than what we did in our neighborhood, and that is, I have 5 neighbors, each one of us is going to have a party. Woohoo. No, you've got to have a solid plan if this is going to be a source of recurring income that you are reliant upon. What are your income goals? And you have to be very realistic. What can you actually generate through a multi-level marketing product? And can you afford the risk of the money and the time? Because you're going to have to invest in an upfront product for your display, to demonstrate. And can you afford that? And can you afford the time it takes to do that? So those are questions you would ask if you were going to get involved in any business. So those are great questions for you to begin to ask if multi-level marketing is right for you. Next. Do your homework. I want you to research the company, make sure that the corporate headquarters has public filings that you can look at their income expense reports, their annual reports, look at their tax filings to whatever degree, find out as much information about the company. Next, I want you to research what distributors are saying. If I work, if I'm selling any product, if I'm doing well at it, I'm going to post a review. And if I'm doing poor or I feel like it's a ripoff, I'm going to post a review. So do a lot of research and find out what others are saying about their experience. Consider the product, the market demand. Is there really a demand for that product, or is that passé given the current times? And the quality of the product, the endurance of the product brand name. So research that product and find out what people are saying about the product and have a great understanding of the cost, what it costs you to do, how long you're making a commitment, what are your obligations, and how do you get out of it. So understanding costs are really important. Next. Ask about refunds, and that, let me go back to my example. I was attempting to create a visual that I got into what is a pyramid scheme, and I'm required to buy product every quarter, and that's very real. So if that's true, all of a sudden I have a garage full of product. A legitimate company may negotiate or have terms and conditions by which they will take the product back that you don't sell and give you a refund. Ask that question. And whatever terms and conditions they give you a contract, well, first of all, don't do it if there's no contract or agreement. But if there is, take that agreement to somebody you trust, somebody that's a third party, a friend, a family member, better yet, your attorney, your tax person. Let them look at it and give you their advice. That is really important because you have an emotional investment when you want to start this business endeavor or this investment endeavor. So make sure you get a third person to really give you their opinion and maybe walk through some of the possible risk. And as I mentioned before, please talk to current distributors, people who are in the program. Are they making money? Is their product selling? How much time and effort does it take? And how much time and effort, I mean, how much money did it cost them upfront to do it? So do your homework. And that in itself is a full-time job when you begin to explore all these options for asking basic questions. Next slide. And if you have questions, my last comment is let BBB help. We are always happy to investigate or to give you information that we have about any of the businesses that offer this. You can find that on your own by simply going to bbb.org and putting in Beachbodies or putting in Pampered Chef, and the corporate headquarters profile should come up. If you have complaints, or if you have a complaint and you'd like to move to some type of mediation or arbitration to resolve it, we're there to serve you. All of these services are public services, absolutely free. This BBB has been doing these services for 106 years. So, you know, we're not a fly-by-night place. We're real people doing the real work. And so bbb.org and our team is here to help you. And the last slide simply gives you my name and my email address, as well as Michael's phone number. Michael works for our BBB here in Greater Maryland. Michael's job is simply to answer your questions. When you call and say, hey, I received this notice that I won a lottery. Now, I didn't buy a lottery ticket, but I won $2 million. Michael's going to be the one that tries to convince you it's a scam. And if you want to know whether or not you should do business with a particular Maryland business, Michael can read the report to you and at least share with you the public information and the customer experience that's been as reported to Better Business Bureau. So we're there to help you. That was just a general quick overview that if you're thinking about multi-level marketing as an opportunity to work at home, as an opportunity to build some extra income, do your homework, read the fine print, research the heck out of it, and make sure that there's a real product and a real opportunity. And it's not just some kind of investment scheme to take your money and then people will walk away with it as the pyramid collapses. So I hope that's helpful. And Miss Wendy, you know, do you have questions or is there anything else that I missed?
I think you gave a really great overview. Where
All
are
right.
you? Where is your office physically located?
We do well. We are like many businesses now. My office is. I have 23 employees that are now all working at home. So I have people in so many of the counties. But we have a physical office where I am today in downtown Baltimore. We serve as a Better Business Bureau the entire state of Maryland, with the exception of 5 counties that belong to the DC Better Business Bureau: Montgomery, Prince George's, Calvert, St. Mary's and Charles. Those 5 counties are part of the DC Better Business Bureau. There are 99 BBBs in the US and Canada. So if you think about the land mass of all of those, the US and Canada, there is a BBB assigned to cover each square inch of the land. And I did not get the luck of the draw, and I'm not in Hawaii or I'm not in Puerto Rico, darn it. But I am located down here in downtown Baltimore.
We're lucky to have you. It's a great resource.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
You can open it up to anyone who has any questions at all for Angie.
Thank you, Angie. My name is Tico Campbell. Really appreciated your presentation. Always been curious about the topic. Ever since I've been a student in college to 25 years later, I've always been approached, but I've always had a negative connotation only because I'm not good at doing sales. But as I'm approaching retirement and thinking about something I would like to do on the side, I was wondering if this might appeal to me. And the latest thing I was approached on was cryptocurrency. So thanks for your warnings. And so the questions that you provided are very good. I jotted them down, and I feel a little bit more smarter when engaging with the people who are giving the sales pitches.
Thank you so much. And Wendy will have both this recording and the slides if we can help in any way. So, and we're here to help you if you just want to step-by-step talk about it. Cryptocurrency is real. I get it. What was that last night? The mayor of Miami wants to make it the crypto capital of the United States.
Yeah.
I'm not saying crypto itself is bogus. I'm saying currently it is unregulated by anybody, and it's not real money. So you have to be very, very careful in what you're doing. FTC has tremendous amount. If you simply go to your web browser and put in FTC cryptocurrency, there is so much information that they have, because they've created a cryptocurrency unit that is really gathering information. And the reason why crypto right now we are susceptible to fraud is we don't understand it. There's very little information and there's no regulation. So it makes it, we're perfect targets for fraud and scams and schemes.
What does FTC stand for?
Federal Trade Commission.
Okay.
It's the government.
Okay.
FTC.gov, G-O-V.
Okay.
Super easy.
Yeah. I always trust the .gov, the .org. Those are safe.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, I thought I would just mention that this really resonates with me because I'm a self-published author. I've been self-publishing since 2009, and there is just so much going on online, not only with respect to cryptocurrency and people wanting to get in on smart contracts and NFTs and all of this, but people out there selling services saying, all you have to do is follow this thing I can tell you, share with you for thousands of dollars, and you'll make lots and lots of money on Kindle, with Kindle books, that kind of thing.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So it's almost like a pyramid scheme itself.
Yeah.
Except that Amazon is underneath it.
Yeah, well, you really have to be careful. And sometimes some of these schemes, they may even be legitimate, but you step back and go, well, I could have done that on my own without paying somebody else, because I'm smart and I do my research and I figure out how to self-publish. And in others, they're going to just make promises of deliveries by which they won't be able to keep.
It is just amazing what goes on out there, and so much in terms of emotional appeal, and also that whole time-limited, act now or else, you'll lose out on the big gold rush that's going on. Yeah, sure.
Well, but it was good to have this conversation because it reminds you, it affirms that what your gut is telling you is actually spot on. And that affirmation goes a long way.
Yes, it does. Thank you. This is great because I've always wondered exactly what the Better Business Bureau does.
Well, this is just one of many examples of our core services, but thank you for that. Yeah.
Be very useful to share that information with other people. Is it okay if I contact you at some point? Maybe we could do an interview?
Oh, absolutely. Of course. But, and like I said, Wendy, I think shared that you would have this presentation as well available. So
and it'll be put onto our YouTube channel in about a week or so.
Great.
So, and I'll email the link out to everyone who registered.
Cool.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. And thank you for your time this afternoon. It was really great. Wendy, thank you in the library so much for having us. And I hope we can serve you again in the future.
I was just going to say, I hope we have more of these. This was great.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Have a great
Have a
one.
good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Whoops, there we go. Bye, Wendy.
Okay, bye.